And welcome back to our morning screening. This morning, the first stock on the scanner is AGFS, which has a lot of volume for pre-market moves. Looking at this chart, you see 5-minute flag breaks here have been very successful. Even earlier in the morning, I don't know, yeah, this is starting the regular trading session for retail traders. So flag break after a flag break. Technically, we have traders in the chat room that love trading Elliott waves. So they would say this one has already gone through the stages of the upturns, and they would be expecting to short it based on the Elliott waves. I personally try and focus on support and resistance mostly. My trading strategy, as you see in the mornings, is fairly simple. Not too many indicators, just following the price action. So looking at this, it could potentially drop because VWAP is pretty far away, so it's pretty extended. But as you guys know, as traders, we don't really care about predicting what will happen, whether this will drop or go up, because no one can do that, and it's just a waste of our time. What we do is we set our levels of support and resistance and determine levels that are key to see the price action and decide of direction. This is a first day runner, so long bias traders are going to be stronger than short bias traders. Break above 260 would be a 5-minute flag break. If it does break that, that will be an entry for me for a move towards 265 and 275. Other potential entry is drop on VWAP and bounce. If it does break below VWAP, that's a valid short. Again, it's a first day runner, so shorting it is going to be a little more difficult because there's normally more FOMO in first day runners, and longs are just more aggressive. So if you do short it, first profit taking would be right before 230, then right before 225, and right before 220. And then potentially break below 220 could be another short for a move towards 210. 210 would be very strong support, and then break below 210, another short for a move towards 2. And then an easier short would be a break below 180, which it might not do today, but if I were a short bias trader, I would set those alerts. So that's that for AGFS. Speaking of first day runners and a lot of momentum, we traded AEPIX yesterday. It had an insane move. It doubled and then some. We obviously didn't hold it overnight because we don't do that, but if we include the overnight move, that's a 200% move. So quadrupled overnight. So today would be a second day run. Short sellers are obviously going to be more aggressive today than they were yesterday. Actually, this morning at 7, as soon as the retail trading session opened, I went to the chat room and just told the short sellers to keep an eye on break below 5 for a short. And it finally did do it just 10 minutes later. It found support on this EMA 200, but also 450 was a big level yesterday. So it's finding support there. If it breaks below 450 now, because, well, what is EMA 200? 445. It breaks below 445. That's another valid short for a move towards 4. 4 is a very big support that we used yesterday for a couple of trades. So that would be a separate trade. Break below 4 for a move towards 350 and 3, and then break below 3 is obviously another short. I am still interested in this today as a long bias trader. The reason being, it had an insane move yesterday, so the attention is going to be on this stock. Obviously, shorts are going to be more aggressive because it's a second day runner, but long bias traders are also going to have FOMO, and then short bias traders, a lot of them, there's going to be a lot of inexperienced shorts trying to make money because they're like, oh my god, this went up to 650 from 170 and it's only in 450 now. I have so much room for profit to 170. So shorts can get very aggressive and then easily squeeze out. So I'm sending alert for break above 5. That's a clear trade for a move towards 570, 6, and 6.5, and then break above 6.5 will be big, and then break above 8. is a big level on the daily chart that we looked at yesterday. Looking at the daily charts, I'm just going to keep that alert there, so forget it. So break it by 5. And then if 5 doesn't break soonish, if shorts continue to short more and more levels, then break above 450 is obviously going to be big if it keeps going down. And then even if it keeps going down, break above 4. So I'll keep on the watch list and keep adding these alerts if it keeps dropping. But definitely has the potential for a short squeeze today after, shorts destroy this level of, what is it? Technically 580. That's also a pretty big level. So I'm just going to keep that there. Okay, now going back to the scanner, we have KZIA. This one's okay. It's a cheaper stock, but has a fair amount of range. Bounces on this EMA 20 are valid. The problem is, this bounce here, VWAP was very far away. Now VWAP is closer because VWAP has been flattening out and EMA 20 has been ascending. So that makes that bounce a little more complicated because there's just not enough room, not enough range. And then here we have a lot of these rejections close together. So we could potentially trade a 5-minute flag break here. I don't want to specifically trade a break on either one of these levels because there's so many of them close together. Potentially break above 40 will clear all of them. But then we're cutting out a lot of the range. We have just 145 and 150 for profit taking. Although that might just be a simpler trade than trying to fight it here with all these resistances. It had resistance on 135, 134, 136, and 138. And so, yeah, it just might be simpler to wait for break above 140. These choppy stocks with a lot of close resistances, I try to avoid. 2 days ago, I traded something similar. I didn't really use my best judgment, and it hit my first profit target. It took profits, but then it stopped me out after that. So if you just take profits once and don't have the opportunity to lift your stop, that's a red trade. And for that reason, I just don't like those very choppy ones. And the only reason I decided to trade that one was because it was the highest volume runner on the scanner. And I was like, oh, maybe, I'll do it. Maybe we'll have attention. And it didn't. So yesterday, there was another stock that was the highest volume runner on the scanner, but was very choppy, and I just avoided it. And it was fine. It actually didn't do anything all day because it was choppy like that. So stick to what you like, stick to what you know. Don't get FOMO based on what other people are trading, what has a lot of volume. Just trade the setups that you know. This is VIEW, view. I have an alert here for break above 125. That's a valid trade towards 130, 133, and high of day. Potentially also a bounce on EMA 20 would be a valid trade here with a stop right below 115. And then reversal traders might also like a bounce in 1-1, 105, or even 1. I don't like those reversal trades below EMA 20, so it's not something that I would take, but it's a very valid reversal trade for people that like to trade that. I'm going to add that on watch list because I don't know why it got removed from the scanner. It probably closed the gap, but we'll keep an eye on it. It has a lot of volume. BNGO had actually quite of the move yesterday. I did not trade it too much because Epix was moving so much. It pretty much was the only trade I really focused on after the bell area. When we first started trading Epix, right on bell, like here, it took it a while to move. Like until it moved above 225, it didn't really start squeezing. So these 15 minutes that we were waiting in the trade, taking profits, lifting stops up, I was trading more things, but pretty much after that happened, I was just too focused on this. And it had pretty easy setups, this 5-minute flag break only took a while for it to move, then a break above the high of this candle, so break above 3, then another 5-minute flag break. This one was a little tricky, actually, because just looking at it, I'll tell you. Because normally when we do 5-minute flag breaks, we try and use this area, the low of the pullback as a stop. You could have used 3 as a stop because it was a big level from before, but that just doesn't give you enough range because in the flag break, the top of this candle is where we look to take profit. So this one was a tricky trade. If you just did partial profit, you would have gotten stopped out. or if you didn't manage to take profit fast, there wasn't really a lot of opportunity for it because this candle really dove in. And then this was kind of annoying. So I did take this trade. It wasn't like a big trade, but then I was waiting for a bounce on 3 to get like a really big trade because that was a big level from before. And I wanted for that drop to get in like a full size in for a move, and it didn't drop there. And that's what told me that okay, um, long bias traders are having a lot of FOMO here. Like it bounced on 315, which is fine psychological level, but it just doesn't mean a lot to the chart. So when I saw that longs wouldn't let it drop even to 3, I was like, okay, there's just a lot of FOMO here. There wasn't really a clear setup because then it did this. So this you could call a 5-minute flag break, but to me, like when you have a candle like this, I don't really trade a flag. So for me, the setup here was we have 4 rejections of this level of 360, but then this one was 362. So I was like, okay, entry for me here is break above 365. Once it did break, it squeezed into a hold, which was incredible, and that caused a lot of FOMO again when you have a hold up. Then it gave a lot of bounces on 4. If you see here, even on the 5-minute chart, these are 3 full bounces. Normally, third bounce is a short setup, but shorts couldn't do anything about it because longs were just so strong. And then technically this was a 5-minute flag break, etc. Did not too successful, but then the break above this 450, another insane move towards 5. And then I was waiting for a break above, I was waiting for a bounce on 4-5 for quite a while actually, because here when this candle showed up, this just shows a lot of indecision, and shorts were very strong on 5 and then very strong selling here and then kept selling here. So we're saying in the chat room this needs to drop, and I was waiting for a drop on 4-5 thinking that if there is a lot of FOMO, maybe buyers will buy there, but they really didn't. And then a bounce on 4 finally did it here, but it was below EMA 20, so I did not take this bounce on 4. I was waiting for a break above 4.5, but then where this EMA 20 was, I was like, okay, maybe I told the group, maybe even break above 4.35 I'll take, and then that was this trade towards 5. Almost hit 5 right before bell, but then obviously did a lot in after hours, but we don't really hold these overnight. Sometimes we like to trade after hour trades, but I really didn't trade this one after hours, and it didn't really break 5 until 5 p.m. So it was like an hour in the after hour session when, it got some volume, but I don't trade that late. Even if I trade after hours, it's very right after. Pre-market I trade. Nothing wrong with trading after hours. Just, it's after the move, so a lot of times also short sellers get stuck in there. So anyway, a little overview of this pretty much in the deal stock, right? A deal day for me is when one stock moves. It's the obvious stock of the day. You trade the same stock all day. You pretty much know how the stock thinks in a way and how it reacts because you've seen these levels, right? Like, okay, here, I didn't get the bounce on 3 that I wanted, so that showed me that I just have to be more aggressive because there's a lot of FOMO in it. You can only get that way if you really follow a stock all day. And sometimes it's a waste of time to follow a stock all day because it will move on bell and then shorts will take over. So you're just like, okay, I'll set up the short squeeze area and let it go. It really has to keep doing this for you to follow it all day and then really know it. This one I'm going to ignore and like charts like that. NRBO, we love this stock. We've traded it quite a lot. This one's actually setting up 2 potential setups. Break above 11 would be key here, and also bounce on this EMA 20. There's a bit of a spread right now, so I'll wait for that. I can't take this bounce on 10/EMA 20 because the spread is too big. Although, I mean, honestly, it has a range. It could potentially work even with that spread, but there's not a lot of volume. So, and not a lot of time until bell, so I don't want to get stuck. But I'll wait. I'll definitely be interested here for a break above 11. And then let's take a quick look on the NASDAQ. Okay, break above 278 would be a TQQ trade. Rejection of that level would be an SQQ trade. Break below 276.85, whatever. This VWAP area is a valid SQQ trade for a move towards 276, and then break below 276, or more conservatively break below this low of the day is another SQQ trade. A rejection of this EMA 200, 278 is another SQQ trade also. And then obviously a bounce here would be a bounce on 276 or this low with a TQQ trade. Okay, you guys, see you in the chat room.